Alright, and welcome back. This video, I've fast forwarded a little bit. This video is finally getting to the point where I start back riveting the stiffeners to the skins. I fast forwarded past some of the prep work, deburring holes, dimpling holes on the spar, things like that, things that seen over and over and over again. No sense in making another video of the same thing. So up to this point, I believe all of the stiffeners, all of the ribs, the skeleton, everything is primered, deburred, dimpled where necessary, and I believe even the trailing edge wedge has been drilled and countersunk. So at the point of where basically ready to start assembling everything. So all of these stiffeners have been, as you saw in previous videos, cut apart. They come as one piece, two stiffeners in one piece, and you cut it in half to make each half or each side of the stiffener ribs. And so I've gone through, trimmed everything up, made all the proper angle cuts, and now it's to the point of actually starting to put rivets to metal. So here I'm using my GoPro. It's for some reason the setting is it's dark. As you can see in the other angle, it's pretty light in my garage, but for whatever reason the setting on this seems to have gone dark, so I got to fix that. So I apologize for that. But I wanted to show a close-up, as best you can see anyway, of what I'm doing as I'm putting this together. So as I've discussed before, you put the rivets in on the skin side, the outside skin side, and you tape them in place. And then you flip it over and use your back riveting plate. Again, take extreme caution that you don't extend past the back riveting plate as you are using the rivet gun, because you will puncture a hole or at best put a significant crease in your skin and essentially make it useless. So just be extra careful. So in that, right here, I decided to try to make marks on the table so I could hopefully see where it's lined up under the skin and move the skin in relations to those markings. It kind of becomes useless, and I just made sure that I counted 6 rivets because that's all that would fit on the back plate as I'm going. So anyway, so you lay the stiffener along the rivets that are sticking through the skin, line everything up, make sure obviously that you're using the correct side stiffener for the correct side skin, and you set it up so that the angle is pointing down. In other words, if you can tell there, the flange of the stiffener is pointing down towards the bottom of the rudder. You just want to make sure you're lining everything up correctly. So yeah, like I said here, it's using the back rivet plate, and then the rivet gun has a special riveter extension piece that has a plastic, I guess I'll call it a cover, that the actual head of the rivet gun extension or tool or whatever you call those is kind of recessed into it, and then as you squeeze, you'll see the indication on there move, and you'll know when you've kind of set it. But typically what I did was 3 or 4 quick blasts. These are the size 3 rivets that you use on all of the skins, so they're not very big. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but just do a couple blasts, then take your rivet tool and make sure that the heads are the correct diameter, and then just keep going. And so you'll end up doing all the stiffeners on one side and then flipping over to the other side and putting all the rivets there. So now I'm just putting the rivets in And obviously we've got the skin elevated off the tabletop a little bit so the rivets will sit flush. But then as you put them in, then you just put the tape over the top of them, hold them in place. Now they do have back riveting tape. I just use painter's tape. It's I believe it's cheaper, but it works just as well. I've actually heard some folks talk about how the back rivet tape actually leaves some residue, where this painter's tape works just fine and it doesn't leave any kind of residue or anything. So I just picked some of that up from the store. So again, working on the various stiffeners, and you'll go through one side and then do the other. And here you see me using the tool, the rivet measuring tool, to verify that the heads are set correctly. You don't want to, obviously don't want to underset it. If it's not, the head's not big enough, then you have a potential for the material to separate, and that's obviously no good. But you also don't want to over set it, because then you don't have enough material or thick enough material to really hold it either against significant stresses. At least that's my understanding. So just be careful and make sure that your rivets look right about where they need to be to fit in the inside diameter of that measuring tool. And if they're not good and either underset, if they're underset, then just hit it a couple more times, one or two more times. If it's overset, then it's just a matter of drilling it out. And to drill it out, it's just a matter of taking in this case, the number 40 drill, and then just drilling enough of the head to pop the head off, and then forcing the machine head, the side that you rivet in this case, setting that so it's working correctly, so that pulling it. And sometimes you may have to drill into it a little bit, but you want to minimize the amount that you drill into the shaft of the rivet that you're trying to drill out, because you run into the chance of enlarging the hole. Anyway, so excuse me. So yeah, the majority of this is going to be back plate riveting, or back riveting these stiffeners on, and then after I've put both skin, or I put the stiffeners on both skins, then I'll start putting the rest of the skeleton in place, and then start final assembly of the rest of the rudder. So it's coming along pretty good. As of this moment, editing this video, I've actually already completed both vertical stabilizer and the rudder. Some lessons learned. That's kind of the point of these videos, is that as I come across issues, or if I make stupidity mistakes, then I like to pass those on to you so that you also don't make those mistakes. Kind of learn from each other in this case. So it's a pretty straightforward process. Like I said, the big cautionary bit here is to just make sure that you are on the correct rivet that's over the riveting back, the back rivet plate, so that you don't damage your skin, which is very easy to do. So in the next video, should get to more of the actual final assembly of the skin, and try to show some of the different aspects, some of the different things that you run into while you're putting the rudder together. Like I've said before, I've had to make several corrections, had to redo the trailing edge wedge. So I'll show all of that. I'll show the what it took to correct the trailing edge wedge issue with not having a correct double-sided tape. It's not fun, so like I said before, I recommend getting it right the first time on that one. Other than that, there was another small issue on one of the lower rivets on the tail end that I just couldn't get anything in there to rivet with, so I ended up using some pop rivets, and I'm not sure that I like that. I might readdress that. So some issues coming up that I'll pass along to you, and hopefully something you can learn from. And again, for those that continue to watch these videos, I appreciate you following. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them below. And if you can, hit that like button for me. And if you're not already, hit that subscribe button, and you'll get notification when I have my next videos out. All right, we'll see you next time around.